Here's the immediate reaction. Tony Petitti has no balls. And it's not shocking because he used to work with Rob Manfred, another incompetent buffoon. If you're going to have some sort of punitive action, at least go all the way. This is backwards. This is the backwards Big Ten. That's what they've become. So you suspend the coach and you expedite this process and you don't allow him to coach on game days, but you're going to let him be there the entire week? This is a weak punishment. And this is coming from someone that doesn't even think the Big Ten should do anything right now. But it's gutless by Tony Petitti. And he has zero leadership. He bowed down to the rest of the Big Ten schools when he should have done the right thing, and that was absolutely do nothing. And you wait till Friday? You wait until the coach gets on the plane and they're already flying to Happy Valley to throw this suspension down? And I really do believe this. And this shows you that Tony Petitti is a schmuck. That he woke up today, he said, here's our punishment. And then he realized, the courts are closed today because Veterans Day is being observed today by the courts. And you're not even going to have an opportunity for Harbaugh to be granted an injunction? This is absolutely ridiculous. This makes no sense. I would actually have respected Tony Petitti more if he said, all righty, Jim Harbaugh, you're suspended for the rest of the regular season. But for him to then be there during the week and then not be allowed to be there on game day and to wait less than 24 hours until the game against Penn State tomorrow, it's ridiculous. And here's my wish. I absolutely hope Michigan crushes Penn State this weekend. I hope they crush Participation State University with their fraudulent coach in James Franklin, who's 3-16 up against top 10 teams. And then 2 weeks from now, put the damn ball down on the field, and I hope Michigan obliterates Ohio State. And then you have the Big Ten championship game, which is irrelevant because the team from the other side of the standings of the Big Ten won't matter. And then Tony Petitti will have to get up on that podium and will have to hand another Big Ten championship trophy over to Jim Harbaugh. And I hope Michigan fans at Lucas Oil Stadium, when they say, here is Tony Petitti to give another Big Ten championship trophy to Jim Harbaugh, get up on off their asses, stand up on their feet, and go, Tony, you suck! You're a weakless coward! Boo! That's what I hope happens. Tony Petitti. No backbone, no guts. Just what a spineless fraud this guy is. You wait until basically 4 p.m. Eastern, less than 24 hours from a game on a Friday to go, yeah, Jim Harbaugh, you're not allowed to coach this week. And what took so long, for crying out loud? Like, what took so long that you have to wait until this Friday to do it? This guy has no leadership, and he's a gutless coward. That's my thoughts on Tony Petitti. But I don't think it matters for the game tomorrow. And actually, from a betting perspective, I bet you this is going to knock the spread down a few points. And it was already surprisingly low, where Penn State was only a 4.5-point underdog. It's already moved to now 4 points. And I bet you it's going to go to like 3.5 by kickoff, because there's going to be an immediate panic. Oh, Harbaugh's not allowed to coach this game. Oh, Harbaugh's not going to be on the sidelines. Maybe Penn State has a chance. You know what? James Franklin, who can't win a big game, can't coach himself in a big game out of a paper bag. If you don't beat Michigan now with their head coach getting screwed right before the start of the game, and you fall to 3-17 as a head coach against top 10 teams, what's the point of keeping your ass on the sideline at Penn State? Why the heck should you still be coaching this team? But come on, Tony Petitti. I've never seen a conference or the NCAA, I know this is a conference issue right now, expedite a process as quick as they've done this one. I've said this numerous times in the last 2-3 weeks. The NCAA and usually these conferences, they move as slow as my mile time when I was 75 pounds heavier. But then Tony Petitti, crying day. He's so upset. Oh, Greg Schiano's upset. Oh, Purdue is upset. Like all these schools. Come on, give me a break. So Tony Petitti swinging his you-know-what around and says, I have to suck up to those other schools. ridiculous, absurd. And I'm not even saying Michigan shouldn't have been punished. I'm not saying that. I've said this, that even though I think this is a gross overreaction, they did break a rule. Eventually, they have to get punished to some capacity. But to make this rush to judgment right now and have zero due process and do this before the end of the regular season is an absolute joke. It is such a joke. It is absurd. It's ridiculous. And it's laughable. Laughable. Tony Petitti. I should have known that he was going to mess this up after all that learning that he did from Rob Manfred. What a joke. I hope Michigan wins tomorrow by 50. 50. I hope they hang a 50 burger on Manny Diaz, who has a good defense this year. But Manny Diaz, a failed head coach, good defensive coordinator, but a snake Diaz, leaving my alma mater at the altar to run right back to Miami after he promised kids that he was going to be at Temple. He has the audacity the other day to say these are the signs to get up on third down. Are you kidding? Like, who is Manny Diaz to do that talking? To do that talking marinated with jackassery. You failed as a head coach. You can't even go get Jim Harbaugh coffee. Harbaugh would spit it right back in your face. And I hope he puts your defense right in the waste bin like he did last year. Remember last year, Manny Diaz, when Jim Harbaugh's offense ran through you like a hot knife through butter? This is ridiculous. We're going to rush to judgment here. We're going to expedite a punishment. And we're going to do it in a half-ass way. Come on, Big Ten. I thought you were better than this. If you're going to actually make a punishment, have some guts. Show some cojones here. Oh, Jim Harbaugh, he could be around during the week. But then Jim Harbaugh on game days is not allowed to be there. What? This is what we're doing? It was the same thing over the cheeseburger scandal. The NCAA, he's allowed to coach during the week. But then on game day, he's not allowed to be there. Man, the NCAA, these conferences, they always get it wrong. They're a bunch of dopes. That's what they are. And you know what? Now, Harbaugh's not going to be there. I don't know what happens with the courts. Can you get a Michigan fan that's a judge late on a Friday to grant them an injunction? I'm not a litigious expert. I didn't study law. I trust me. If I studied law, I wouldn't be yapping to you guys on the radio. I'd be sitting on a big stack of cash right now. But I didn't want to study law. I study media studies and production, and I'm a talk show host. So maybe they could get an injunction. I don't even know if it's worth it. Because he's not allowed to coach on game days, but he's allowed to coach during the week? This is what we're doing? Tony Petitti. Boo! You suck! You're another dope. You're another guy, and I know he went to Harvard. All righty? So it's probably laughable that the Temple guy's calling a Harvard guy a dope. But it's so simple. You didn't have to do anything here, but you got scared. You saw the shadows of Ryan Day and Greg Schiano and the Purdue coach that we don't even know his name. And now all of a sudden, oh, those schools are bitching and complaining, so we have to do something here. You should have sat on your hands and do nothing. If your big grand plan here was, we'll wait until late afternoon on Friday when the coach is already on the plane, and we will wait to suspend him only on game days, but he's allowed to be there during the week? Like what? What world are we living in? This isn't even, it makes no sense. There's no common sense here. It makes none. If you're going to suspend the guy, at least have some guts. He's not allowed to be around the team for 3 weeks. Instead, he could be around the team during the week. He could coach the team Sunday through Friday. But when Saturdays roll around, nope, not allowed. What kind of punishment is this?